It's the AI, I've got the crypto and the marketing. So it's the AI. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I'm always interested in what people are using it for. Yeah. Just on tweets. Just on tweets.
Mehr dann? Wie viel ungefähr noch? Ist live?
Yeah.
Okay, 40 Sekunden, ja? 40 Sekunden. Ja, ja, ich bin gerade dabei. Nochmal schon mal die Musik auf. Test, Test, Test. So.
Läuft das hier alles? Läuft hier alles? We're live? Okay, perfect. I think my sound is on my computer. I need to turn it off. I'm echoing here. All right. Okay, hey everyone. I'm very excited for this event. So I wanted to have an event around AI marketing because I feel like there's so much buzz around it. There's everyone on X like, you have to use this agent, you have to do that, but it's so overwhelming and confusing. So I wanted to have an event where we just talk about what's actually working for people, what can you do with AI to get customers, and yeah, just to nerd out. But in the end, it's also really not about me or about the speakers. I wanted to bring people together just to yeah, connect to each other, to talk about your startups, and hopefully take something away that you can apply in your business right now. And that's not something, hypothetical. So yeah, very excited for today. Have some really cool speakers. You're gonna have 3 presentations at the beginning. So 3 presentations for like 20 minutes, maybe 25. A little bit of Q&A, and then we'll have a panel and also a bigger Q&A. So if you have any questions, please be free to either ask them after the talks, but the Q&A after the talk will be a little bit shorter. But then we'll have a bigger one at the end. We also have free drinks, and we're gonna have pizza later. So everything's covered. First of all, thanks to, do you say W3 Hub? Yes? Okay, W3 Hub. So turn up for W3 Hub for giving us this location here for this event, which is super nice. And also to Mitte AI. I think the founder is not here yet, and because they sponsored all the drinks and all the pizza. So another applause for the guy who's not here. So I think he's gonna be here a little bit later and talk about his startup and how you can use that tool for video creation. So very excited to hear that as well. And now I think, Carl, do you want to?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I thought Quinn is first, but that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. My name is Carlos. So just quick introduction. I run events for Super Team Germany. We're also co-hosting this today. What we're mainly doing is building like the Solana talent community here in Germany. So we look for like founders, developers, people who are like willing to build a startup and help them with the right resources. So for example, we have a hackathon right now on the 3rd floor, which goes over 2 weeks and gives in-person support for Solana founders. And yeah, we usually host a lot of events here in Berlin. If you're interested, get in touch. I have a little like banner here with a QR code, which is our link tree. So you will find out about our events and things we're doing there. And yeah, super excited to meet a lot of new people here and talk to you guys later. Merdan is also part of the team and helping a little bit on technical side, also doing the tech setup here today. So if you, for example, have a quick urgent call or anything like that, we're streaming the workshop so you can access anything you're missing later on. And yeah, super happy to have you guys here. And then some quick words from Quinn also about the W3 Hub.
First of all, thank you, Carlo. And one sec. Okay, while Ole is reconnecting, I will give you a short introduction. So maybe some logistics. I hope everyone figured out that we have the free drinks here. We have soft drinks here, alcoholic drinks, beers, white wine shoulder in these fridges. If you're wondering where the restrooms are, they are downstairs. You can either go through this way or you go down here. But yeah, maybe an introduction about myself. I'm Quinn. Nice to meet you all. Currently, I'm the marketing and community manager, but actually about 3 years ago, I started as a working student. And here's like the fun fact. One of my first tasks was to review the podcast that my boss, Vicky, was doing. And one of the first episodes also featured Ole already. So like 3 years ago, I already had my first touch point with Ole. So as you say in German, man sieht sich immer zweimal im Leben. Yes. And now it's working, so not only free drinks, free pizza, free co-working day passes. You get a day pass, you get a day pass, everyone gets a day pass. So just scan this, give me your name, and then I will get back to you. Unfortunately, not yet automated by an agent, because I will prove that not everyone is exploiting the system. So this is not only an event venue, we also have co-working on the upper floors. We host a lot of events such as great hackathons with the super team guys. So if you're interested to work with like-minded people, maybe you're sitting alone at home, it's just you, yourself, your agent swarm, and you run out of credits, you can actually meet people here and discuss with them what you're working on. A space for like-minded builders. And with that being said, I'm a marketing guy, and I look forward to an evening full of marketing improvement and insights. Let's go.
Thank you, man. Cheers. I too am a marketing guy of sorts. My name is Tom, and I'd like to thank Ole very, very much for inviting me along to this. I can't with this, but it's all good. All right, we're going to demonstrate our technological prowess here.
You got it.
We're good? Cool. I'm going to talk about startups and advertising in the post-AI world. Specifically what works and what does not when anybody can do anything. Firstly, who the hell am I to be speaking to you today? I'm a senior copywriter. I won't dwell too much on what that is, but I basically build businesses by turning words into dollars. I've worked in financial publishing and technology since 2013, so yes, I'm pretty old. I'm a co-founder of a fintech that currently tracks about $4 billion worth of assets. I consult to an ETF firm in the United States, so heavily into AI, and I speak German poorly, which I'm sure you can forgive me for, you native speakers. Everyone here is so fluent in English. Let's talk about Ryanair real quick. A few years ago, well, many years ago, I guess early 2000s, when low-cost travel first became a thing, a friend of mine said, Tom, the great thing about low-cost airlines is that everybody can travel now. And the terrible thing about low-cost airlines is that everybody can travel now. And I want you to bear this in mind as we get into this presentation, which, by the way, I've used with Perplexity Pro to create. So we've been here before. There's a few younger people here, but there was this thing called the dot-com boom, the late 1990s, the early 2000s. Dot-com was then what .ai is now. You had a big surge of investment in this big, exciting new technology, and this big, huge amount of money flooded into a marketplace. There was a whole lot of hype, a whole lot of energy. It was all very exciting. And there was this brief period when all you had to do was be part of the trend and you'd make easy money. This was quickly followed by what I would describe as a reassertion of basic, fundamental business reality. Now let's talk about racing cars. You'll keep up, don't worry. It's all going to make sense, I promise. When the world changes, there are winners and losers. And some people end up like the number 10 car here, cruising out into a dream scenario. But most people end up back in the pack, spinning their wheels, getting caught up in nonsense and kind of going nowhere fast. So I'm going to show you some examples of each in the AI space now, both from my experience in advertising and the tech worlds. I've got a question for you. Which is more likely to make $50 million in 12 months? A full stack agency, B, a solo freelancer. Put your hand up if you think a full stack agency. A. Solo freelancer? Okay, it's a bit of a trick question, I'm sorry, but I had to do this to you. My friend Sam runs something called a one-person AI advertorial agency. It's exactly what it sounds like. He's one person who's using a really basic stack of AI tools in a really clever, creative way. Q1, first 90 days of this year, he made 120 grand personally, working for just 2 clients on a performance or revenue share basis. He's been able to do that because in 12 months for just one of those clients, he generated $50 million in revenue. Now the 80-20 of this in terms of AI is that his tools handle 80% of the work. So research, drafting, editing, designing, publishing ads, split tests. If you don't work in copywriting or advertising, don't stress. It's just a long way of saying it does all the stuff that kind of sucks when you're doing this work. And Sam gets to focus on the 20% that makes the biggest difference. It's big ideas, it's creative strategy, it's ideation. So it's like Sam's setup is it's like an AI copywriter cyborg system. You've got this human and this machine element working in a very specific way together, producing incredible results. If anyone here has ever run cold traffic to an advertising funnel, you'll know that converting cold traffic at 3% is insane. 2+ ROAS, return on ad spend, is also insane. Sam's doing stuff like halving acquisition costs and doubling conversions for the businesses that he works with. It's pretty crazy. This is a prime example of someone who's winning with AI right now. Sam's using AI as a lever and not a crutch. And I want to come back to this idea a couple of times in the next few minutes. Without this system, Sam is still a really highly skilled copywriter. He can still make strangers on the internet buy stuff at scale. He doesn't need the tools to do what he does. But the fact that he knows how to direct, interpret, and criticize what his AI stack produces means that AI can't really replace Sam. It's cloning and amplifying him. So now let's talk about tech startups. I think that AI means that one person can do what a small team of people used to be able to do. And if you go up a level, what used to take a 10,000 person company can now be accomplished by just a handful of people. So this is my startup, Navexa, that I co-founded. We're a portfolio tracking and tax reporting platform, which sounds really, really boring until you have a bunch of money in the stock market and you need to tell the government how much money you've made. We are a bootstrapped business. There's 5 of us. We serve about 3,000 clients at the moment. The first few years of the business was in the pre-AI world, right? So we made a bunch of money. We got to 20K monthly recurring with old school engineering and marketing. But now AI is in everything that we do. It's how we develop the products. It's how we support the customers. It's how we onboard people. It's how we design the UI. The marketing stuff especially is insane. Shortly, I'm going to show you a competitor who sprung up in the last month or so. And we wouldn't have known about that competitor unless the OpenClaw agent that we're running on competitor research specifically hadn't pinged and said, hey, you guys need to take a look at this. We don't have time. We've got 3,000 customers and they're hitting us up every day. Why doesn't this work? Can you do this? Blah, 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 blah. So several thousand people trust us to track and report on more than $4 billion worth of assets. And if we don't do our job properly, it has real world financial consequences. We're the highest rated product in our market. We've got hundreds of glowing reviews written by real people featuring typos and everything. That might seem trivial, but we'll come back to that in a second. And shortly, we're going to pass $1 million ARR. So not quite a hyperscaler, but we're on the way. We're not just building a tech product. The way that we think about what we're doing in the context of AI is that the product, the stuff that you build with AI has to sit in the middle of a much bigger set of tools and ambitions, really. We're building relationships with clients and partners. We're investing in a market-leading reputation. We're publishing research, infotainment, stuff that speaks to our community. We are using AI as a lever and not a crutch. Because, let me introduce our newest competitor. And I'm gonna curse my AI for the shitty formatting, but you can see the headline here. They come in hordes of vibe-coded vandals. They are multiplying and they are coming for your business and your products and your audience and your revenue. When you look at this website, you can see, if you think what I just showed you of our dashboard, it's a similar kind of thing. You've got a chart, you've got some figures, cool, you can track your portfolio, track stocks, blah, blah, blah. It's all there at first glance. It's like, wow, this is complete, this is professional, this is legit. And thanks to our market research clawbot, we realized we needed to go and take a look. What looks immaculate on the surface is really a veneer and little more. There's very little information about the founders. There's no social proof. There's no case studies of anyone real who's used this thing. Zero information regarding financial licenses, which in our niche is a huge deal. It's basically a stack of nice looking reasons not to do business with these people. Now I'm biased, of course I would say that, but being as objective as I can, that's the fact with this vibe-coded piece of kit. I think this is how not to win with AI. This person's using it as a crutch, not a lever. In the same way that you think about Ryanair, if you took away the low prices, what have you got? You've got like a shitty airline, right? You wouldn't really want to travel with them otherwise. If you remove this product's point of difference, which lo and behold is low price and nothing else, it kind of falls over. There's nothing unique, there's nothing new that a more established, more trusted competitor like us is going to crush them on. So takeaway-wise, I would say AI is not a license to overlook the fundamental laws of business. You're in business to do business with other people. You want to build trust, you want to do real stuff. You don't want to hide behind shiny vibe-coded landing pages. One particular red flag in this example is that this platform, from what we can tell, is scraping official market data illegally. So if someone goes and starts using that, very quickly they could be in legal trouble. I'll stop bagging out the competition now, we'll move along. Let's talk about Ryanair again. I like to think that AI is to businesses what low-cost airlines was to travelers. Not only can everybody fly now, but everybody can build an airline. You can probably spin up an agent and get that to build the airline for you. But that's kind of missing the point, in my opinion. Everyone can do it, marginal costs are collapsing. So it's no longer really interesting to fly somewhere for 50 or 100 bucks, just like it's no longer interesting to say, I'm using AI for X, Y, Z. People might still care about that now, but in 2, 3, 5 years, it's just not even going to be spoken about. It becomes about where you take this to. I'm going to finish. If we're going to go back to low-cost airlines, we have to go back to fast cars. I'm sorry, it's just my nature. Another analogy that might be useful to you thinking about this stuff is that a racing car is a machine of great power. But if you put someone at the wheel who doesn't know how to drive, not only are you not going to get the most out of that machine, you're probably just going to do some damage to yourself, to a power pole, to another car, you name it. The skills of entrepreneurialism and business remain at the heart of everything that you do, that you build, that you sell, that you promote. It's always communication, strategy, innovation, and so forth. The people that I see winning are the people that are using AI as leverage, but with a distinctly highly skilled human touch. This is an age of exponential leverage. Businesses using AI intelligently are becoming the most capital efficient companies in history. You've probably heard about Cursor, Anthropic, lesser known $1 million to $5 million companies that can grow revenue 10x, 100x without growing their headcount. And I'd count my business among those at this point. But businesses who aren't using it intelligently, they just become slot merchants. Faceless automations in an infinite sea of copies and high-tech veneers that lack in any compelling human narrative or deeper benefit. So what is the future of AI marketing? Well, I think we're writing it as I speak and as we gather here. Never before has so much leverage and opportunity been available at so little cost. So when you're working with these new tools or you're building something new, ask yourself, am I using this as a lever or am I relying on it as a crutch? A crutch can be kicked out from under you, but if you own the lever, there's pretty much no stopping what you can do. And that's it for me. That's my prez. Thanks very much, Ole, for having me. Cheers, guys. Appreciate it. Of course. If someone wants to talk about Ryanair or Crash Ferraris, I'm available.
It was so clear now. Can I give it just quickly?
Of course.
Thank you so much. It was interesting. My question was about when you were doing that your startup. How much did you consult with the real traders to how much they were involved in creating the different kind of charts, or are they still, or it was just on the vibes of the user side?
Did you say with the traders? Or basically everything that we've built in the product has been from real conversations with people who use it. So very rarely do we make something because we're like, oh, that'd be cool. What if we did this? We spend a lot of time hanging out in person with our customers. We put on events and have people along. We hold webinars. We also recently built an option into, basically when you sign up for an annual plan. It's not overly crazy, but you can sign up for like a deluxe onboarding session. And what we're finding is that people with higher net worths and sort of a higher bar that we need to clear for the service, we offer them a 30-minute onboarding call. And we just keep having these amazing conversations with people, and they're like, oh, I've never thought of this, or there's been this problem that's been nagging me for 20 years. I think what I'm getting at is we're having to extract this from people's brains and memories in actual conversations. It's not stuff that people are going to bother to write down in Reddit. There's no online place where some bot can go and troll that. So does that kind of make sense? Yeah. For us, it's like, it's talking to people. That's where it's come from. Yeah. Cheers, man. Yep.
Thank you. Thanks. Really nice presentation. I'm curious about your OpenClaw usage. If you want to share anything more about that, but as an example question, were the people who were implementing it developers or previously developers, or was it the CEOs or marketing people? The CEO, not plural.
Yeah, so the other founders are both like senior software engineers, and I personally don't touch it because, and they've said this to me, they're just like, it'll just fuck your life up. It's very complex. It's very complex, and once you let those things loose, they can just kind of go and do anything. They need very specific guardrails and security. And for us, some of our agents are like, they're plugged into our database, our Stripe account, very sensitive business stuff. So it's a tense time. We see the potential of it, but for all the potential, it's just like, if that goes sideways, we're screwed. So to answer your question, we've got serious professionals handling it, and I'm not touching it with a barge pole.
There was no implication.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Anyone else, or should we hand it over? Yep.
You mentioned your friend Sam, I think, who created 50 million in revenue and only took 120K per quarter. So that's less than 500K. Do you have a contact to him? Because he seems like a very good investment. And why is he taking less than 1% of the value that he creates?
That's a really good question. So at the moment, that 50 mil figure is attributable revenue for an e-commerce client. So what it doesn't take into account is the ad spend that it took to get there. It's not 50 mil profit. Yeah. You busted me being a marketer and trying to cook the books. But my point with that really is for a solo freelancer, 120 grand in a quarter is insane. It's about to go a lot higher because Sam's in the process, and I'm helping him with a couple of other people at turning his system into an AI tool. Like basically do you want an advertorial that prints $1 million a week? Click a button, go. Which is pretty bananas, and hopefully it doesn't end up in the loser pile from what I just showed you. But Does that kind of answer your question a little bit?
Perfect. And I'll get back to you afterwards to get his contact.
100%, 100%. I should have shielded him harder. Anyone's welcome to get in touch with Sam.
What a great presentation. Thank you, Tom. All right. So I chose the great title of distribution maxing. This is what I want to talk about today. And I'm going to focus out on telling you how to get customers on organic social media using AI without you ruining your reputation posting slop that is disgusting to people. Too late. Yeah. you can still make it. Right. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to tell you how you can become a brand that people trust and you can buy from. So this is just an honest hype versus reality of just me being this guy at home, shit posting my way through the Twitter sphere. And I also share how you can turn your customer data that you already have into marketing that converts. So kind of data mining, some workflows there. And I'll share my AI growth stack behind 1 billion organic views. And I'm also going to share 2 of my skills that you can take home. So I really try to make this as actionable as possible. So why listen to me? Who the fuck is that guy? So I created over 1 billion impressions on X in the last 3 years. I grew 2 accounts to a combined 310K followers, generated 7 figures in revenue, and also helped a couple of companies and founders to do tens of millions of views and add millions in ARR as well. You probably know this feeling, right? You're on social media, everyone's screaming, you need to use Obsidian, your Second Brain, your OpenClaw, your Claude MD, your Mac Mini, your Hermes, and you're like, oh my God, it's just not stopping, but you just don't know where to start. And if you're like me, it's even worse. You have a crying baby at home, like your whole apartment is a mess, and you still have all these things, Second Brain, Claude MD, Mac, oh my God, where to start? But I want to start by saying most of this stuff is noise. And I'm going to share 4 misconceptions around AI and marketing that I'm seeing every single day. Misconception number 1 is AI content is a volume game. And I really like this Naval quote, good writing is a winner take all market. There's no demand for average media. And you can just change writing to content or media in general. That's a very important statement because especially with AI, most stuff people create tends to be average. So execution was the scarce resource before, which means if you wrote a really long blog post or a book, it meant you put a lot of work in it. And it was scarce because people are just lazy as fuck, and so no one would do it. But now, everyone can sit down with Claude, be like, hey, just write me a book in 5 minutes, and it will just do it. So now the last thing is unique ideas. The scarce resource is unique ideas. And just as a little reminder, you can have one outlier post do 10 million impressions, or like 10,000 times more than your regular post. And you really don't get any viral posts by being average. You can't like spam yourself into going viral. This just doesn't work. Even though a lot of people on social media just pretend it does. So the goal here should be, you should use AI to develop your internal, what I call like a quality meter. So you need to understand what a great idea actually looks like. So I spend a lot of my time using Claude, helping me understand why an idea worked. So you don't use AI to be lazy and to be like, okay, just gonna hand off everything, I don't want to do anything. But you actually use AI to understand the pattern of a content piece or a podcast, whatever, it doesn't really matter. So you dissect the psychology, you understand, okay, this is what made someone scroll stop. These were the emotions, this is the promise. This is what the human brain goes through when they read this content piece. So you add volume in content only once you understand what's quality. That's kind of important to understand. And what really works well with AI is to take something that's already high quality and to repurpose it. So you have a tweet that had a good engagement, good impressions, And you can take the same thing and turn it into a newsletter, turn it into another content piece, use a different angle, turn this one idea you had into a slightly different frame. And I'm going to show you how to do this a little bit later. Another thing I really like doing is to emulate your ICP, or like the person you're talking to, your customer, your dream customer, your dream investor, whatever, to emulate this person with AI. So I have a Discord channel, just like different people reading my content. So I have like an overwhelmed, non-technical guy who's like, oh my God, I don't understand, you kind of lost me with that stuff. Then you have the hater who's always just hating, trying to find things to hate on. You have a contrarian, you have the burned buyer who bought all the stuff before and is very cynical. So that's something I use as an example. Let's talk about the second misconception. So the first one, the second one is this guy. It's like the classic guy on X. Just copy what's working, bro. Just use a scraper, scrape the best performing hooks, and you take these hooks and you post them, and you're going to go super viral, you're going to be famous, and your startup is going to raise 10 million tomorrow. It's always the same story, right? And everyone's pushing the same narrative of just copy what's working, bro. There's one important thing to understand, that iteration cycles have sped up by 100x. So it used to be you post an idea, and if someone wants to copy your idea, they actually need to sit down, record a video, or like write the stuff they want to write. But now they can just go to the computer, hey Claude, please create my own version of this content piece. So the half-life of this content piece is down to minutes. So it's really about diminishing returns of copying straight away. That's something you need to understand. One thing that works really well for me, and it might sound a little bit mundane or boring, very important part for like founders, anyone who's trying to grow their company on social media or their personal brand, is get inspiration from outside your niche. Meet people that do completely weird stuff. Go to conferences that are not really connected to what you're doing. And because it's all about the next point, it's adding your human POV to everything you do. So always asking yourself, what is something only you or your brand could say? So instead of looking at a trending idea and just being, okay, I'm going to be the first one republishing that Gemini just released their new model, or Anthropic, or whatever, always asking yourself, what is something that I can uniquely add to that? And your unique life and inspiration, and I don't know, maybe you go to an agriculture conference and suddenly you have a very different view on how AI is used. So the general formula is to find something that's already trending and add your unique personal spin or relevancy to it. Because how I view content is, let's be honest, right? Like we want to have a dopamine response. We want someone to read it and like, oh, actually something's happening with me. And you get a dopamine response by having the right amount of familiarity and novelty. It's the same thing with a hit song. Every hit song has kind of an element you already know, but then maybe it adds another genre. It adds something novel to it. So I really became obsessed what it means to have an interesting idea. But let's look at one content piece here to just give you a little bit of an illustration here. So this was an article I wrote that's called How to Finally Trust Claude's Advice Using Karpathy's LLM Counsel Method. So just looking at the title. So we talked about, okay, you want to have some familiarity and trust. We have Claude in here that most people know. We have Karpathy in here. If you don't know, he's one of the co-founders of OpenAI, a GigaChat AI guy, I think head of AI with Tesla after that. So there's the trust factor in here. Then we have a novel method, talking about an LLM counsel method. So there's probably something you have not heard about. And then we also have a problem here, because most people use LLMs and everyone knows it's the most convincing yes man. If you tell it, oh, is it a great idea? It's like, oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's a good idea. And if you tell it, oh, it's a shit idea, oh, you're absolutely right. It's a shit idea. So it's a huge problem and a huge TAM. And this is why it attracted over 1 million views here. But again, I want to come back to the idea of what does interesting actually mean? And if we want to use AI for something, it's usually good to understand what's an underlying framework of something. So I found this thing by Murray Davis, I don't know, I'm probably butchering his name. It's called That's Interesting. And so the general idea is ideas spread when they invert one belief. So they don't invert the whole belief, like the whole worldview, because then someone would say, oh, that's absurd. It's like twisting everything on its head. I don't give a fuck. But if it's just twisting one thing, it's like, oh, that's actually interesting. So it's just looking at one assumption you held tight. And I built this into a Claude skill. And it's something I use when I'm out of ideas and I'm looking at something. I love to use this skill. And you can just scan the QR code and it will download a Dropbox file with a little virus to go. Sorry. No, it's just a skill file, and you can just get it into your Claude Code, Claude Cowork, and what it does, it looks at your idea and it runs it through these different filters of what actually makes an idea interesting. And that's one use case for me where AI really shines because it is amazing. It's kind of the same thing as using it to emulate different buyers, for example. It's really good in like stepping into different shoes and being different people at the same time, which we as humans are not good at, right? Because we have our own set of assumptions, we have our own way of thinking, but AI is just amazing at that stuff. So that's something I love to do, and I built this skill for this, on this framework. And the framework is, right, you ask yourself fundamentally, okay, what is interesting, for example? You find a framework, you then teach that framework to Claude, you build a skill and you use it. That's kind of the way it works. So let's talk about taste. Drinking is water with a lot of taste. So if you have a brand or a company you want to grow, anything you want to grow online to get customers, I see people like just skip over building brand context. And that can sound a little bit boring, but makes the biggest difference when it comes to content especially. So everyone should have a positioning document. Something like I love to do is having a document of a perfect day in your ICP's life, like going through every 30 minutes, describing the perfect day and the worst day of their life, and also having something like a visual context doc. And there are tools like Google Stitch, which is for free, and Claude Design that just came out. It's kind of slow. I hope it's going to get better soon. I think it's going to get better soon. But these tools are amazing to create what's called a design MD. And a design MD is just a document telling an LLM, okay, this is the way we like to use typography. We like to use these fonts. We like to use this color palette. We like to use this kind of spacing. And Google Stitch is really cool because you can just create a canvas and then you can just tell, hey, here's my website, or here's a website I like, and it will create a design MD for you that you can just download for free, and you can put it into your Claude, and from there on you have a visual design document. So just take a little tip, it's pretty easy to do. Another thing, especially if you do any kind of written content like I do, so if you do LinkedIn, if you do X, it's very important to create an extensive voice DNA document. I'm going to show you how in the next slide. So in general, a question I get a lot is like, how do you actually manage all your context? And I think that's one of the bottlenecks a lot of people have, that they might use ChatGPT for this kind of work and they use Claude for that kind of work. And maybe they have a team and they're not synced up. So one person would create content that sounds different to the other person, would create a different infographic with different colors. And one way to handle that, especially if you're like a non-technical person like I am, is to use something like Obsidian. Have someone heard about Obsidian? Can you raise your hand? Oh, okay. The pros are here. Okay. So that's a great way, for example, for people who don't know Obsidian, to just manage your context inside of your team and all of that. So that's another, it's a free tool you can use. It's just an editor for your context files that you can sync up. I talked about the voice DNA, and it's actually one of my favorite skills that I use every day. And what it does, I have what's called an anti-slop doc. And the anti-slop doc is basically an overview of the most AI sounding pattern. It's not X, it's Y. Or this staccato, one this, one this, one that. Not this, just that. It always has the same pattern, and people get used to it now, and they can tell. In the beginning, people could not tell, but now, like I talked to Tom. I randomly met Tom this morning when he came from the gym, and we talked about how it was kind of hard to track ads back then when podcasts were new. But now, like if you get into the ad for 1 second, people are like, bullshit, turn it out, okay, just skip the ad. It's kind of the same thing with AI content is happening. So having something like this skill, which you can download for free, it will ask you for context files of your writing, and that's actually one of the most important parts here. So it has these patterns it tracks. You also add a lot of your context of your writing. It could even, if you don't have a lot of social media writing, it could be your WhatsApp chats. I mean, if you trust these companies with the data, it's another question. But every kind of writing you have, you can use. Transcripts from your calls. Anything that just brings your tone of voice just makes it a lot better. And also it has a recursive loop. Recursive just means you give it feedback. Hey, I didn't like the way you wrote this headline. I would never use that word. And every time it will learn. And the next time we'll go through logs to keep improving. So now misconception number 4. Again, it's something you see on X. There's a new tool coming out. It's like, it's over for marketers. Our AI CMO just came out and it's over. And it's always about, okay, now we're going to automate end to end. Everyone loses their job. So I had to use this. I get this today. So most marketers have been limited by their technical ability. And why I added myself as a potato is I like to say I'm like as technical as a potato, and ChatGPT came up with a new image model and one-shotted this and was like, this is kind of funny. So this is me, non-technical as a potato. But now with AI, it's becoming more and more clear that distribution and taste really are the biggest modes, or some of the biggest modes for companies. So one cracked founder in Cloud Code can compete on a level that really used to take 5 to 10 people. And I just see this myself every single day that it's working. So I'm also going to talk a little bit about what you should not use AI for. So one of the things is you should not outsource your intuition and taste. You should always outsource your the boring execution and data analytics, which is something like if you work with ads, like to get all the ad data right, to scale the ads. If you work with social, to track, okay, these pieces worked, these pieces didn't work, like all the busy work, scheduling, and all of that shit. So again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some specific things that I do to hopefully inspire some people to try these. So what I use AI for, besides any direct content creation, is I like to ask myself what are tasks that were not possible to be automated or not possible as a small team. And something I do personally, I have a newsletter, and if I would ask a question, for example, I would get a lot of replies. And if you have a company, maybe you have a database of your customers, and you send out promotions. But it's very hard, for example, if you ask for a reply to track all of these, to go through all of these on a continuous basis. Same thing for social media, to read through all the comments, to check, okay, who is this person who commented on my post yesterday night when I was sleeping? But there's a lot of data in that. And that's why I, in the beginning, talked about how you can extract stuff from data you already have. So what I like to do is I have my OpenClaw set up, also my Cloud Code, to read all my emails and to extract the exact customer language. And I could not, this is one of the most important things for me in marketing in general, because great marketing is just knowing who you're talking to. And you only know who you're talking to when you talk to them. And that's the great thing about AI, because you don't have to talk to all your customers yourself, but you can just read all emails and have this consistent inflow of language pattern. And if you have these language pattern, the way people talk about what's wrong with your product, also what they like about your product, but anything else, just increase the data collection points that you have with your customers 10x, because now you can. So any piece of content, any email you have, always try to include some kind of a feedback loop and feed that feedback into a database. And use that stuff to create your ads, your content, or your marketing in general. Another amazing thing about AI is creating used to be very scrappy between a million different tools. Maybe you need to open up Photoshop for something, or like InDesign for something that's more visual, or Canva. Then you have to write with someone in a Google Doc if you collaborate, whatever. You have these million tools at the same time. And also if you manage your customers, you have your CRM tool, go into HubSpot, whatever. And now, now all the building blocks are just inside one OS. And that's one of the big unlocks for me. So I have my cloud, I mainly work in Cloud Code. So I have Cloud Code connected with ChatGPT images, with all APIs I'm using, which could be Hayden API, the X API to scrape all the comments. And also something I built, sorry, still a bit sick. All right, like the big advantage here is that you can just navigate this whole media creation spaceship from one basically central hub. And it's so easy now to connect an API to be like, hey, I have this content piece, please use this skill to create an infographic for it. You don't need to hop between all these different tools, which is an amazing feature. You can also build what I called brain rot scrapers. Because if you're a social media guy like I am, scrolling brain rot all day, it just hurts your brain. It's horrible. I still do it, I'm guilty. But you can also do stuff like, you can use the dispatch. Has someone used dispatch here from Claude? Yeah? Okay. So dispatch basically is inside your Claude app on your phone, and you can talk to your Claude Cowork or Claude Code sessions. And when I would tell it, I can then use my computer use and my Chrome Claude browser plugin, and just say, Claude, hey, please, you're my brain rot guy now, please scroll my feed and just scrape the best 100 hooks and save them to a file. So that's one of the good things, because you can also use your computer, and stuff that really is draining on your system. This is the stuff you should outsource. What not to use AI for. Please don't comment under posts. Please don't. The first thing. The second thing is, don't create any slop without unique ideas, POVs, or emotions. That's what I talked about, because it's going to be average, no one's going to care, it's just a waste of time. Don't do any mass outreach, because the same thing, especially if someone is a good target for outreach, it's just overwhelming and it just gets lost. You also should not outsource your opinions, which means if you let AI create a content piece for you and it's opinionated and it's not your opinion, someone will talk to you about this thing. It's going to happen, 100%. So you can ask for perspective on a content piece, but you should never outsource your actual opinion about what you think about this topic. Another thing you shouldn't do is to fake photos of yourselves. Like some people do it. I just think you can lose your trust so fast that if you just pretend to be somewhere or doing something, it's not real. Even if it's just once, people like the trust just nukes instantly. So yeah, that's okay. I had a GIF here. Where is it? I had like a burning Elmo with bombs. Okay, imagine burning Elmo with bombs. Okay. So these are just some things I learned in the last couple of months just doing AI marketing. Just wanted to give you like a fast, rapid round of some stuff that I learned. So from my experience, founder-led content still wins. So both for finding customers and finding investors, and especially the finding investors part is like highly undervalued in my opinion. So you can post and it's only 15 people reading your post, but I've seen it so many times. It can be the right person. So especially if you want to attract capital, and investors love to see like the way you operate. And if you share your thoughts on the internet for either your company or yourself, this just shows people how you operate. And that's just a high, like what Tom talked about, a lever for yourself. My stack right now that I work with is mainly Cloud Code on Opus. It's Obsidian for managing my context, and it's OpenClaw and Hermes as agents. I just recently switched to Hermes, and I really like it, but I don't have a deep opinion about it yet. And I don't think it matters that much. I just think like the mixture of like a working OS Cloud Code type plus then like assistant type AI agent is a good combination. If you're thinking about content in general, video just builds a lot more trust than the written word. And I'm saying that I'm not doing a huge amount of video. I'm doing more now. But if you have not started yet, in general, I would always tell you to build trust with an audience, with investors, with potential customers. Video is just way more effective. If you're someone like, hey, okay, I don't even have a customer yet, and totally valid, just started. And for these people, I also recommend to do things that don't scale to get to this initial data, what to talk about, what to write about, what to use in your marketing. That could be something then giving out your product for free for the first, 100 people or something, talk to someone on the street, and then be like, hey, okay, actually I'm going to give you my WhatsApp number as well. So do things that don't scale. Take these conversations, again, look at the exact ways those people talk. Look at the exact ways they feel about your product, the emotion it evokes, and take that data for your marketing. Because again, I hope that I make this point clear. Like great marketing is just understanding your customer, it's just getting into the head and the psychology of your customer. So sharing your journey as a founder, from my experience, has incredible upside, even if it's just for the network or investment, and just as like parenthesis, because this is a big part of being a founder. So this is my presentation for today. If you have any questions in general, I'm going to have a small Q&A, but also always feel free to reach out to me on X. It's this is my handle here on X. On LinkedIn, it's all just my name. And yeah, now we can do some Q&A. Thank you.
Thanks for the nice presentation. So if you have a couple of recommendations for some of us, maybe software engineers or otherwise, and start now on social media, what would you recommend to start, let's say, in the first 2 weeks, 4 weeks? I guess combining your skills, for example, to just start pushing out content every day, but any further guidance?
So what are you working on? This would be my first question, okay.
I built 2 startups in the energy domain as founding engineer, and now I want to build something on my own, solopreneurship or a startup myself, or maybe even coaching business, so I'm figuring out different ideas. So I want to write in a way that I still keep all audiences basically open.
Mm-hmm.
Push out content.
Yeah. So my first advice is always like see it as an experiment. Don't be too rigid about it, because content really is a long game. And for me, content was always about, it should always be about exploring your curiosity in a way that you still potentially reach the right person, right? So in that case, when you just talked about, for example, you worked in the energy sector. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know many people working in the energy. So you have inside knowledge of that, right? That's the first thing I will look at. Okay, what is my unique perspective? So that's okay. You might know about energy, and maybe you want to build a product now that's more towards solopreneurs or whatever. So the first thing I would sit down and again ask myself, like, what is something that I lived through that most people probably have not? So we'll start there. And then you look at the different, how can you connect these topics? So maybe, I'm just going to talk about the energy stuff, just for example, right? But how can you connect these to, again, a trending topic, what we talked about? Look at what's something that's hot right now. It could be even something like, I saw like the Bloom stock, I think it's called Blooms, like Bloom Energy, whatever. Bloom Energy, like the stock was up a lot and like some big AI guys bet on it. You can just use something as a hook to then talk about your experience in the energy sector. So try to find something that's hot. Another thing that's way simpler and takes longer, but is the better path, is always, okay, you always have 1 week of things you do. Maybe you build a product, maybe you talk to some customers, maybe you just met someone from back in the day. Again, meet interesting people, meet weird people. Maybe you meet with someone that you work with, and you just sit down and distill what are the lessons for yourself, and so you distill knowledge for other people, and you add your own POV and recommendation at the end. That's like kind of high level talking about it. When it comes to how to actually write the content, I guess that's the next part, right? But again, it starts with the idea. Spend most time on the idea and mining interesting ideas, meeting interesting people, reading, watching things most people don't watch. That's like, because otherwise, like, who's going to care, right? Then the second part is do it in a way that excites you. Because if you only do content to get to a goal, it's going to be a long run. It's like one of these marathon things to do. So in general, if it's just to reach a goal, most people stop. So that would be my advice. Okay.
I can shout my question. What do you use to power OpenClaw and Hermes?
What I use to power it?
Yeah.
What do you mean power? Like the model?
Everyone used to use cloud subscription, and then they nuked it.
They nuked it, yeah. It was very sad. So I was on the auth token on OpenClaw. I'm now using Codex, which is pretty good, actually. I like it a lot. I also decided to use the Codex app in general. So I'm using the Codex auth token because OpenAI at the moment allows it to use it for OpenClaw, but it's a lot. I think in general Codex is really good, but for some reason on OpenClaw, sometimes it's just stupid. I don't know. It feels a lot worse to me than using Opus before. Like it's just like breaking up with someone. It's like, oh, nothing's the same anymore. You get into a little depression or something like that. So I'm still trying to figure out what's a good setup. I also want to like play around with like buying a Mac Studio and hosting, because also some of the new open source models, like Gwen just had a new model come out, and Kimi. So I think it's also going to be more interesting for people to work on these models. But right now I'm mainly using Codex for OpenClaw. Yeah, okay. I think it's the best setup right now.
Like 2 more questions.
Yes, yeah.
So if I were, thank you by the way for the talk, and it was quite inspiring. So if I were to start writing as a freelancer currently with aspirations for solo entrepreneurship, I feel like that's a crowded space to be in, and I think you addressed that partially. But the other thing that I know like a lot about is mental health. And if in the abstract, if I wanted to have a big account, would you recommend going for mental health, which is maybe less crowded than, or the other thing where everyone is writing it, but some people do it better, like you?
My first question would be, why do you want to have a big account?
That was the abstract position, because I'm trying to figure out what genre would be better for me. I don't really want to have a big account.
What's more fun?
More fun is mental health.
So there you go.
Better for business, maybe. Better for business would be if I did about my entrepreneurship journey.
Better for business would be if it's more fun.
Okay, nice.
Because it's gonna take some time, and I think that's like I've seen people make that, and I've made the same mistake. You're like, oh, this is a better market to go after, but a better market is the market where you can stay in the market for longer. And if you can only stay in the market for 2 years, because it's going to be draining at times. Maybe there's even a way to turn the more mental health thing into something that's more monetizable than you think. So there's also a misconception a lot of people have. I'm only talking about this thing. I'm only talking about like cute ponies. They can't make money with it. There's so many examples of people turning the most crazy things into great internet businesses. And even sometimes this small thing that's, has a smaller TAM or whatever, it has a big opportunity too, because it's still the internet and it's still growing. So you can find an audience for everything. That's what I learned. For the things that seem super small.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We do one more and then.
I think I've seen this one was already up there, so sorry guys.
Hi, amazing, thank you. I have a two-faceted question. So I think one of the most important aspects is timing is very important. For example, you were talking about like the bloom energy with the energy example. So I don't know, like I'm terminally online and I've seen like bloom energy since like 5 months now. And if you do a content about that, for example, right now, I think like you're finished. Or like Hermes, for example, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, Hermes used to be like not many people knew about it, and then 2 months later it's so hot right now. And my concern is always like, when do I post about this? What is the timing? Where do I get my alpha? Like, do I go to like Korean accounts and find about like memory stocks and then like translator Substack? And like, so that's my question. Like, how do you time your entry into these topics? Because if it's too early, then like no one knows about it, it gets lost. Also, global or local. So for example, if I'm local, I talk to people, I see amazing things, very interesting stuff. And for example, that's how I found you. Like you were the European tech startup sharing guy. And then I go into it, you're in Berlin, you're involved in European accelerationism circles. But if, for example, yeah, exactly. But if you were like global, if you were just like American guy, then I probably wouldn't have met you. So like, I'm also trying to find out like, what part of your voice DNA involves like the local element versus the global element too?
That's a good long question for the end.
Yeah, like my Claude is still like doing hard yakka. Okay, so the first question was about timing. The honest answer is you kind of built an intuition. I know it kind of sucks as an answer. But I mean, everything that's intuition can probably be broken down into a framework. When I think about it, I like to separate content into stuff that's kind of running on stuff that's hot versus stuff that's more evergreen. Because if you always chase the current thing, they're going to burn you out because you always feel left behind, what you said, right? And it's interesting because sometimes what works best usually is not only using the hot thing. For example, Hermes comes out and you're like, oh, this agent came out and it has more GitHub stuff and whatever. Like, no one cares, right, if you post about this now. But if you use the same thing with a unique insight you have, you can probably still post it today, right? Because the unique insight is what makes it interesting. And the Hermes thing just gets you in the door of someone, oh, I know this thing. So usually there's a bigger opportunity window than people think if you add an idea that's interesting enough. That's what I learned. You also don't want to be too early on something because, again, it depends, because sometimes you're early and that's why you get the gigabanger, but usually you get the gigabanger when you add, again, I'm repeating myself, if you like add a new twist to something, it's already going viral. But you should not be too obsessed with what's viral. I think that's also counterproductive for many people. And a lot of my stuff that went super well was like either like shit posted like from my phone waiting for a coffee or something, or because if you just chase virality, it's like chasing also like a vanity metric. You want to chase reaching the right people. I think that's better. Like who are people, and that's why I love content too, because we can host an event and I can meet people that are like me. And if I want to build something, or if I want to raise capital, or want to find a co-founder, that's the real leverage. Like the leverage of likes, whatever, like, or sponsorship is not that high. So I would also rethink that framing of you need to go viral. The second part you asked about, can you remind me again?
Globalization versus local.
Oh, yeah. When you look at algorithms in general on most platforms, they are quite local now. So Instagram, TikTok, they are all very local, like geotagged. So it's actually an advantage to post locally because it would just attract more traction. I would say if you're a personal brand in general, also if you are a brand, you should always include something around community and your lived experience, because that's the difference, right? If I just talk about, oh, the ecosystem in Berlin is so cool, and it's like, yeah, no one gives a fuck. But if I talk about, okay, hey, I actually met these 4 founders doing these 4 things, and they told me about, these insight they had, it's much more relatable. And if I also share, I had, the best pizza at W3 Hub and the best looking guys here around, people maybe care more about it. So you should always think about I always think about through the lens of really like who am I as a person and a human? How can I connect with an audience? And if you do it with it in a genuine way, it usually also spreads beyond the place. That's the interesting part. So if you post about an event in Berlin, it does not mean someone in San Francisco will not see it. So, all right, I think I yapped enough. Thank you, everyone. We want to have a little panel at the end too.
Yeah, there will be more time later to ask questions. I just don't want to receive the pizza and then it gets all cold while we have the panel. That's why we move a little bit on. Yeah, I think you can introduce our next.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to plug in your...
Yep.
All right. How do you pronounce it? If you call me AZ? Yeah, okay, that works. All right, so our next speaker is going to be AZ, and he's from Mitte AI, and they were so kind of sponsoring the drinks and the pizza. So first of all, a little hand up for Mitte AI. Thank you for sponsoring this.
That's not the cable.
Oh yeah. And by the way, sorry for all the coughing.
It takes maybe a little second.
I think you plugged in this one, right? But I think it's only for the power. I think you need to...
No, but this is the HDMI.
Yeah.
Okay,
And this is
also
power.
is good.
Yeah. Wait a second, probably.
You maybe have to change the settings on your
Yeah.
laptop for mirroring. So either you have to drag it up or just say complete mirror on the entire screen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Do I hold it? Oh, it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Hey, welcome everyone. It's my first marketing meetup. I'm a software engineer. I'm a software engineer. It's the first time I join a group of people who is interested in marketing, so maybe you can raise your hand if you're also an engineer. Perfect, I don't feel lonely. I've been building software since 2002, since very early ages. And before Berlin, I used to live in San Francisco. I worked for startups in founding roles. And in Berlin, now I'm running my own startup. It's the second company I founded, and I will tell you about it. It's called Mitte.ai. The domain was available. I think you were thinking about the same question. And the domain was available, and I got it because I was looking for another domain, and that was taken. And I was like, now I need to find another name. And turns out Mitte.ai was available. I found this company last year, and it's based in Berlin, in Merantix. If you are around, you can also ping me, and we can meet for coffee there. I'm a solo founder. I think it's kind of new in the Berlin ecosystem. The investors are not very friendly with solo founders, but I'm very stubborn, and I don't care what investors want usually. And I raised $1 million for pre-seed, and I didn't spend it at all. It's still in the bank, and now I will show you. And the team size is one. That's why I didn't spend it. So I built this product called Mitte.ai because I was looking for a tool to use AI image editing models. There's like dozens of them in Hugging Face, and last year, there was lots of image models. Now there is video models, and since founding the company, I just scaled it with the market, what market wants, and all these new models. Now you can find both image models and also video models and sound models, and you can also, you can create your custom voice library and all sorts of stuff. And now the company is doing well. There's like thousands of customers and users, and I'm doing a lot of customer support and also engineering and marketing. And I'm following cool marketing folks like Ole, and that's why I'm here. Okay, so I will show you something useful maybe it's useful. I hope so. I made a video, a launch video, using all these AI models, and maybe you want to see it and also use AI for doing your next launch video. Let's watch it first. So we wanted to launch a presets feature on social media, and we did a video for it, and this is the video. You can see it, right?
You have an idea and you want to see it. So we built presets for Seedens 2. Whatever you're making, there's a preset for it. Making a short film, cinematic scenes. Pixar level animation, 3D cartoons. Selling a product, UGC ads. Anime films, brand films, Eastern epics, interviews, commercials, and more. Select a preset, type your scene, hit go. That's it. Ideas don't wait for permission. They demand existence.
Okay, so I will show you how I made it, and it's pretty easy. Like within a day, you can make a video like this. So you don't have to spend any money on video, like making videos, and you don't have to spend the money that you raise from the investors. So I will break the video into a few parts. The first part is this woman talking. I first created the character in Nano Banana, and she's already in my voice library as Jade. It's also available for all the users. You can also use the same voice. And when you click the voice library, you will see your custom voice. I have, you know this guy? Yeah. So I trained his voice as well, just for educational reasons. And but it's not public. You cannot use it. You have to train it yourself. But we have some public voice library, and you can train your own voice as well. Okay, so basically I first create the sound, and when you generate the sound, you just need to enter the text after selecting the voice, and at the end you have the voice generated already.
You have an idea and you want to see it. So we built.
This is what it looks like when you generate it, and you can also edit it. There's basic editing capabilities here, just in case you need like simple audio or video editing. And once you have the audio, now you can do the video. And how many people heard about? I mean, you probably heard about it, but how many people tried Seedens 2? Okay, perfect. And this is made with Seedens 2. And one of the things this model can do is it can take your audio and image together, and you can say, "Do you see my prompt here in the screen?" So you can basically prompt image 1 speaks audio 1. Remember that like we generated the speech already with our custom voice, and you can also instruct the model to switch the camera and do basically act as a cameraman for your scene. And in the video you can see it. When she's speaking, the camera changes to the side, and it's consistent. The model is really successful. So this is one video that I made, and it is how it's made. First speech, then you instruct the Seedens 2 model to synchronize the lips with the image, and you have the final result. And then I created a bunch of other clips. One of them is the clip of the person making the clip. So it's a little bit like we have the guy who is making the video, and I'm making him. So and this is made with GPT-2. I assume like many people tried it already. GPT-2 is really good at injecting screenshots into the image. Have you tried it? Have you tried you try it for a video or?
No, just for an image.
Just for an image. It's super good. So what you can do is basically, do I have the prompt? Yeah. So I created like I think it's very small, but you can see here I created a scene of a guy who is working on a computer, And in the screen, there is a random application. But I changed it using GPT-2 with Meet AI screen. So now he's like, I took a screenshot of me creating this video, and now the guy is creating the video. You can do that with GPT-2. And once you have the image, the next thing is you can you can feed it into Seedance 2. You can say, the man plays the video in the screen, blah, blah, blah. So I have some other prompts here, but you see, like, I have the image with the screenshot, and I have also some sound, and Seedance 2 is literally making the video of the guy who's making the video. That's all. So this is how I made the video, and you can also do it. And maybe I can also show a UGC video, because it's a marketing event. I thought it would be interesting. With Seedance 2, you can also inject products easily. For example, this is...
This might be the best morning of my life. Drove 6 hours for this, no signal, no people, just this. Oh, this thing. Snow Peak Titanium. My buddy gave it to me last year. I use it for everything now. Anyway, I'm not going back.
Can you tell it's AI? I can tell it, but I'm not. You know, I'm already a fan of the model, so. Anyway, so the prompt for this one was basically the image of the product. I Googled it. I love Snow Peak products, and I Googled the screenshot of the image of the product, and I placed it, and I just wrote a scene. That's it. You can make UGC videos like this. Okay, so what else I can share? Maybe I can show you voice cloning, how you can clone your own voice. So if you open Mite, you'll see a bunch of presets here, and one of them is clone voice, and if you select it, you'll see a screen like this. It requires 2 files. One is an avatar. It can be anything, like you don't have to upload your own face, but it's, you know, it shows up as an avatar for the voice in the menu. It's helpful to recognize. And the second thing is you need to provide a 30 seconds of audio, and you can either upload it or record it. So if you click, so we can try it together now, but there's a lot of background noise. But you can record your voice, and in like 30 seconds, you can clone your own voice. And now you can create videos with yourself. You know, you have your own image, and you have your voice. You can instruct Seedance 2 to create interview of yourself with anyone you like, maybe Lex Friedman. So these are the things I can count as possibility you can do. Maybe I can also share like what we want to do at Mite. We want to build a agent, a general media agent that uses all these tools for you. And we have an agent already that you can use for some tasks. The last task I did was, so I will show you a funny video. So this is basically a lot of content creators on Twitter. I don't know if you have ever needed it, but many content creators on Twitter need a workflow for this. Like they like to place a video on top, and they want to place an image on the bottom. Like I don't know how you would do this. Like maybe you use CapCut or something like that, but you can actually, like it is very simple with Mite. All you need is like place the video on the top and the image on the bottom, and they should have equal width. You can also you can also request some specific layout stuff, like, you know, put a border around, etc. So we have a media agent, and it's called Vango, and you can also use it for all sorts of needs. It can do editing for you. Like let's say you have a clip with a restaurant, and you want to remove, let's say, you want to remove a person or the scene with a table. You can ask that. You can ask our agent to do that for you. And our next goal is to basically make this agent like more accessible. Right now it's behind the code name. You have to choose Van Gogh. It's the code name of our agent. But it will be much more accessible when you open Mite. There's going to be a chat-like interface where you can just ask the agent to do whatever you like when it comes to media. Okay, so that's all from my side. I will show you 2 more slides. One of them is going to be a discount code in case you want to try. Some people weren't raising hands when I asked, like, have you tried Seedance 2? You can try it with this discount code. Our basic plan gives 32,000 credits, and you can make many videos with it. Okay, so if you all took a photo of the code, the last thing I want to mention is we are hiring, because I'm one person, and and we are hiring a founder's associate. That person will focus on hiring and marketing and social media and customer support. And we are hiring a bunch of engineers. Our tech stack is Elixir and Go on the back end, and on the front end, TypeScript and a bunch of other stuff. And if you're interested, we can talk after this presentation, and you can also drop me an email with your background. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I came in a little bit late, maybe you mentioned it already, but I was wondering where you draw your compute from. If you're just using the cloud providers, you're renting servers, GPUs, or you're maybe even self-hosting?
At the beginning, we did host some models because they weren't available, but now all the models we need is available on FAL. And the founder of FAL is my also investor, Görkem, and they are very generous with us. And I also use Replicate for a few models, but mainly FAL and Replicate.
Have a question? Yeah. So when you create the movies, do you create the scenes one by one and then use regular video cutting to put them together, or does Mite AI do it on its own?
Do you want me to answer? Did you ask it like how do I create sequence between videos, or just put them together?
No, like the whole video. Do you create the scenes and then cut them together in Mite or in an external video cutting tool?
You can do it with Mite, but it will be very basic. Like if our agent can do that. Like you can ask our agent, here's 5 videos and put them together. Sometimes I do that, especially for social media. Like I don't want to open Premiere for simple social media videos. And you can just ask Van Gogh, like here's like 5 images and 5 videos, put them together, and here's how you should do it. You can even be specific about which image to do what, because the agent can see what's inside each video and images as well. But just for basic stuff, you know. Yeah. Did I answer?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just for the stream, it's nice. Otherwise, it's.
Thank you so much. The question I had is that, do you have some exit strategy? Like after you get all that models that will be super trained, will it go to some corporate or public, or any plans on that?
Do I have an exit strategy for my company? So I'm like, it's already profitable. It's making money. And I didn't think like, what am I going to do 5 years later? But we did get some requests from companies, big companies, to give our videos so that they can train. They asked for it, and they paid good amount of money. And I said it's not ethical, so I didn't do it. because it's not necessary. We are not giving anything for free. I mean, we have a free plan, but it's you cannot generate videos with it, and it has a good conversion rate. So, like, yeah.
What's your best user acquisition strategy, or like your top 3? And how many users do you have, like paying users?
So I don't want to share my numbers, but I can share what I learned, if that's okay for you. So one thing I started with monthly basic plan, for instance, monthly free plan. So if you had a free account, you had certain credits per month. One learning was it didn't convert anyone, and it didn't really keep people in the platform. And the learning was I switched from monthly to daily. So now I give a certain amount of credits per day. And it really keeps people engaged. They come back to the platform, and at some point they convert. This is one of the learnings that I gathered this year. And other than that, I'm building in public. I use X extensively, and it works as well.
Do you run like paid ads or anything?
I tried paid ads, it never worked. What works is you try something new, and you share it, and people see something new in what you share, and you cannot do it all the time, like. But if you're dynamic, if you're always trying to do it, every once in a while, it works.
If I remember correctly, you were also in America before.
Yeah.
But now you're in Berlin, and you
Yeah.
obviously decided to stay in Berlin. So
Yeah.
can you share a little bit about that? Did you consider going to America? And why are you staying in Berlin?
Yeah, so I also work for Superhuman, so from Berlin as well. Superhuman is based in US, and they got me H-1B. I didn't use it. They got me green card as well, and I didn't use the green card as well. And that was my second green card. So I burned 2 green cards. So why am I in Berlin? Because it's close to Turkey, and I'm Turkish, and my family members can visit me easily, and I visit them frequently. That's one of the biggest reasons I moved here. US is way too far. And also, I believe that Berlin hasn't fulfilled its potential yet. I can see what can be done here, and I'm not pessimistic. Like sometimes you meet people, oh, everyone is moving to San Francisco. Look at the LinkedIn, and I'm like, don't look at LinkedIn. It's cringe. We cannot make serious life decisions. We cannot leave Europe because there's bureaucracy and move all to US. There's going to be people here, and they will also push things. And I prefer being here right now. I have no complaints other than housing. we can complain together after. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're going to move to a little panel now and have another Q&A, big Q&A after. Good job, thank you. Vielleicht frage ich ihn doch aber noch. You want to join the panel? You want to? Yeah? Yes. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Advertising and startups, basically.
Okay, cool.
You, Ole was saying you do stuff with Coinbase.
Yeah, I'm at Coinbase, but I also do a bunch of AI stuff on the side, and I started an event series.
Cool. You're based here? Mm-hmm. Oh, awesome. Cool. So you're in-house with Coinbase?
I'm contracting for them, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm in the EMEA marketing team essentially.
Cool.
So we work on retail growth, so across all products. Negative. Yeah.
Mein Panel, wo ist da hin? It's okay, doesn't matter, right? All right. Everyone's ready? Okay, so we're going to start this again with a very short round of introductions. Maybe some people came later. So we already have 2 presentations. So we're going to start with Norman here, who just joined us. So just... All right. Okay, he got this. All right,
Hello, everyone. I'm Norman. What should I say? What I'm doing, right? So I'm a marketer and growth guy since more than 15 years. I currently work at Coinbase in consumer marketing, and I'm also building a community and event series called /Vibe Marketing, which focuses on AI in the context of marketing and growth, and it's focused on senior marketers and growth operators. That's me.
I'm Tom. I'm a copywriter by trade, and I'm a co-founder of a small fintech based in Australia. And I basically build businesses using language.
I'm Azar. I love building software. I'm now building Meta.ai, and apart from software, I'm also interested in all sorts of creative stuff like filmmaking, photography, and I'm also doing design for Meta right now. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Ole. I'm a professional shit poster. I also have an AI education and training company. And this panel just exists because my self-interest of being super curious, because I want to learn from other people who use AI for their marketing. And let's start with you, Norman, because I think it's very interesting because you have more of like a corporate background. So I would just love to understand, what are you seeing in these bigger companies when it comes to adopting AI for the marketing?
I work in corporate right now. I'm usually more in like startups and scale-ups, etc. But I do get to know the corporate world a little bit these days. And so I think I listened to some of the discussions and to some of the talks earlier, and I think generally it's way earlier in larger organization. I assume the larger the organization gets, the earlier they are in their AI journey. So I think what many like medium-sized businesses that are like maybe slightly more old school, that are not in deep tech or whatever, I think many of them are at a moment where all of their employees now have secure access to LLMs, that is, privacy preserving, that doesn't infringe copyright, internal IP, whatever. So I think this is, everybody's happy if they have that. Like if all of their staff can use the stuff, and the CEO isn't worried that they do crap and upload documents that they're not supposed to. So I think this is, for the majority of companies, this is where they are. And I think then the next kind of thing that I'm seeing that people then adopt AI, obviously, is then engineering. So I think, if you work in the digital space, engineers are coding not by hand anymore. Most of the code, like 99%, is obviously written now with AI. So I think this is then the next kind of thing that people, or like it's probably even earlier than what I said before. And now I think slowly you see stuff moving into different teams and verticals, where people say, okay, now how can we apply this in legal or in training or in marketing, right? So I think I would generally say this is a bubble. I have that all the time as well. You talked about FOMO and like being overwhelmed. So I think we tend to think that everybody is super far ahead and like, fuck, I'm losing the race. But if you talk to a CMO of a company with 3,000 people, like they don't have a clue how they're going to apply AI in their team. And you have, so just last thing, you have individuals in these teams usually, that are ahead. But I think on a team level, it's very, very early.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of founders in this room. So what do you think are the opportunities for builders? If you look at these companies, maybe there's some stuff they're struggling with. As you said, they're still kind of early. What are ways to help companies to use AI for their marketing, for example? Are you seeing anything on the ground there?
Oof, that's a huge question, actually. So, that I've created, last year I started some research for myself because I want to make sense of it, and I built a little framework. And what I did is I mapped essentially the 7 key value chain steps or value streams in marketing, like from research and concept all the way to analytics and monetization. And then I basically identified, I think, like 45, 50 things that are happening in marketing today. And I think this is the status quo, or the legacy marketing stack or marketing approach, let's say. So, you know, it's essentially a map. I put it online. I can, maybe Ole can share the link. And if you, and I did this for myself because I want to make sense of it. And what I found is just everything is, like every aspect, every single aspect is touched in a really, really meaningful way. So I think there's dozens and hundreds of opportunities. I think this entire stack that we learned on how we do paid ads, how do we do content, how do we do CRM, how do we do analytics, how do we build mobile apps, how do we do ASO in the App Store, whatever it is, like everything is touched, and I really think everything is going to be restructured. So yeah, we would actually like need to zoom into like specific things.
I think like what I had in mind is to maybe find a specific use case where you saw AI being adopted, especially for marketing in kind of these companies.
Yeah, so I think, again, there's plenty of examples, but I think one thing that I saw recently, or like maybe two examples. The one thing is that in CRM, you used to have a logic where you build a segment. I want my users that signed up in the last 30 days and haven't done action X yet. And then you design templates, and you maybe infuse like certain elements of personalization. I know a team that is here in Berlin, but this is also like other teams working on this, also companies like Coinbase building this internally. This is going to go away. Like you're not going to have this like segment, template, campaign trigger thing. It's just the AI is going to like oversee all the data, all the personalization, all the results from all campaigns. And it's just going to ship the stuff on like a one-to-one level. So it's like a segment of one kind of thinking that is right now being implemented in CRM. And we know this from Facebook ads and stuff like this in paid as well.
Yeah.
Just, that's one example.
Yeah, no, very cool. Tom, so you are also working with some like the ETF providers, and you said they have a ton of AI as well. So I would love to hear your opinion or like your experience working with them and kind of the specific ways AI is used and also where it maybe still falls short.
Yeah, so this business is quite interesting in that they create and launch exchange-traded funds that are based around AI ideas, hardware and software, which is one side of it, which is insane. But how this business is building its audience and customer base and client base is with a newsletter, not that different from yours. And the guy who's putting this newsletter together he basically brought somebody in, an AI specialist, and said, make me like a weapon of mass distribution. and which is also extremely high quality, and like the stuff you touched on in your talk, it just captures his voice and his tone and his perspective, like down to every single turn of phrase. It's incredible. And that thing is going out every day. It's going out 5 times a week. This guy has no time. Yeah. Like, I've never met a busier, more ADHD person, and he's putting out this insanely high-quality newsletter.
I mean, you're also a copywriter, so you know how to do these things manually, right? So what would you still think, because this guy now has this amazing machine, like press a button, but how much would you still say it's important to do the manual editing part? Because that's something I keep coming back to, like, what's your take on that?
I personally never put anything out without going through it line by line, just because that's my craft, it's my trade. And soon I'm going to be a dinosaur, but not yet, right?
Do you actually want to, in a perfect world, and you are a copywriter, would you even like everything being a production line with you being involved? Have you thought about that?
How do you mean being a production line? Because it's
so it's still, let's say this guy at this company, and he's creating everything with a push of a button, and everything goes out, and he's not involved anymore. I think it's an important thing to think about, like how much of your work do you actually want to automate? Do you actually want the full production line, or like?
Yeah. Well, this is kind of almost like a philosophical question
about
all this stuff, isn't it? Because like for me, I love to write, I love to read, I like to research, I like to put ideas together, compare stuff, argue points. It's a pleasure, it's a joy. And if I could build something that made that part of my life redundant, but why would I? What would I do with the time? Something I enjoy less. Doesn't make any sense, right? So for this guy, he loves building investment funds and talking to investors and doing all this crazy Wall Street stuff. So the newsletter can be a production line for him.
That's a question I want everyone to answer on like also from you two guys, like what's something you should not use AI for your marketing? Maybe you start here first. Yeah.
Maybe writing a poem for your child.
For your child. I mean, like for your marketing, for growing your company, is it? I mean, obviously you have an AI company, but is there something where like, okay, I should automate everything for my growth, but this part is especially important? Like, I guess the question really is like, where is the human still the advantage over the machine when it comes to marketing?
So I draw a line in between AI and myself. The line is where everything becomes very predictable, aka boring.
Average, yeah.
That's the line where I delegate to AI.
When it becomes boring for you mean? Not when the output.
Unpredictable. I mean, when it's very predictable, when I have all the systems and patterns established in the code base, I delegate writing the code to AI. But there is certain tasks that I call it slow programming.
Okay.
Like I have like fast programming and slow programming. Fast programming happens when everything is very predictable, and you can just press the gas pedal. But then when you need to establish patterns and systems from scratch, that's where you need to slow down and set you need to work on the underlying patterns yourself, and that is very unpredictable. Like you have to. That's where I step in, and I don't delegate anything to.
Do you have any specific example, especially when it comes to marketing? You said it like kind of getting users, and what parts of that stack do you think the human is more important, and what part of the stack you feel like could be completely automated right now?
So can I talk about programming or?
I think programming. Like let's talk more about the actual like user acquisition and marketing part, because like want to talk more about like actionable marketing parts.
Yeah. When it comes to marketing, I do use AI to generate content, but I heavily edit it.
Yeah. Okay.
I never liked any final version yet. I liked exploring things with it, but I never wrote anything fully AI. And maybe I let a little bit more than I should in past, and when I see it back, when I look at past, I feel like I shouldn't have used AI that much.
Yeah. So Norman, I think you mainly do like consulting work. So what part of that, if you still talk about the same question, what part of that stack do you think like the human is the absolute most important part, and what are parts of that work where you feel like, okay, it's way more easily automatable now?
Yeah, so I think I would say everything strategy cannot be automated at all. And even, I'm not even talking about automation at this point, I'm even like trusting what the LLM is giving me. So I think it's super important to, and I really think if I see a lot of content, a lot of presentations, especially about people that don't know what they talk about that much. Like I can now pretend to be an expert in, I don't know, building speaker systems, right? And I can just come up with stuff and say, yeah, you do me a concept of like building a new speaker. And it would be really easy, and it would be a very compelling piece of content that I would throw out, and like somebody who knows as little about speakers as me would think, wow, that's a pretty compelling concept for a new speaker. But then I would give this to an expert who has done this for 10 years, and I would say it's complete bullshit, doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. So I think this is something I think you cannot automate, or you cannot even trust LLMs on strategy, concepts, because obviously these things are, and I know you can try to get around this if you know how, but these things are designed to like keep you engaged, to like always a bias towards action. They will never say, hey, you know what, reflect on that for a day. And like talk to 3 users. They will always like want to trigger the next token consumption and the next like, okay, should I build this now? Okay, are you ready? Okay, just 2 more questions and then I'm going to do that. So I think like if you zoom out and like net new concepts, net new ideas, strategic directions, creative concepts, right, that are really genuinely new, you cannot even trust LLMs on that yet. I'm not even talking about automating anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think obviously you can involve AI, right? But I have the, as you say, taste and judgment of, okay, yeah, can I trust this, huh? And then you know it, all of you, right? You poke some holes and then, oh yeah, I lied there, or like whatever, right? So I think there's a lot of things that you cannot trust AI with yet if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. How do you see that changing in the near future? Like, is there, because this is right now, right? Like, we're talking about strategy, and I also like to believe, like, oh, the human's always going to be the superior, like, meta strategist, the meta orchestrator. But I would like to, in general, ask you guys, like, because this is right now, but like, how you, what's your prediction of where things are going, especially when it comes to marketing and growing your brand? Let's say 2-3 years from now. Maybe Tom, you can be the first one.
What's my prediction?
Yeah, so what's your prediction? Because again, what's your prediction where marketing is going in the next couple of years? Do we see a big difference in kind of the human in the loop? Do you think it's going to be fully automated, or is there stuff that's going to stay on the human level?
It's a little bit of everything. Like every this is like an exponential time. Things are. It used to be 1 year to the next, and then it was 1 month to the next, and it feels like at the moment with AI stuff, it's like 1 minute to the next. You know, it's the stuff you can do is insane. So there's a whole. If I had like €1 for every time someone sort of asked me along these lines, well, I have some euros left, but I would have given most of it to the tax man. But it's never been easier to be average, and I think that's just going to increase. But it's never been more beneficial to invest in remaining exceptional. Remaining exceptional might be a function of staying human and refusing to let AI kind of encroach on your humanness, your creativity.
Do you have any tactics to stay more human? Is there anything you do?
Well, I'm not great with the tools. Like I personally find like I just get overwhelmed very quickly.
Okay.
I recently had to bounce between a couple of different LLMs, and it was just a drag, man. So I stayed with something that clearly wasn't great for what I was trying to do, because the pain of moving to something better, I had to go and unlearn stuff and relearn stuff, and I was like, shit, man, I can just write this myself. It'll take longer, but I'll know it'll be better. But like I say, I'm becoming a dinosaur. So.
Yeah, I also find that going the complete opposite way for creating usually also does the trick. So I also take time. I try to take time every day to just write even without a computer. My handwriting is horrible, so that doesn't really work anymore. But it's, especially if you do creative work, and I just to touch a little bit on what Norman said, I think especially if it's strategy, you can get sucked into the LLM with your thinking. So anything that takes high-level planning and high-level thinking that also includes your taste and your view on things, if you start with an LLM straight away every single time, you're already biased. So you wake up, you scroll your feed, you're already biased by the news, you go to your LLM, it really helped for me to understand how LLMs work with their context window, to understand that my context window is very small. So you tend to fill it up very, very fast during the day. So I think that going the opposite way of working manually as well, and having a conversation with someone, just writing by hand, it really helps with creative work, also for marketing. So kind of maximizing that energy to be on your own, and then use LLM to amplify something that already has quality.
I had one more thought. I mean, it's not exactly a prediction, but just something I'm expecting when you say, how does marketing going to change? I think first and foremost, it's just going to get overall better. And it's going to, like, good marketing and being excellent at these things is going to get more accessible to more companies out there. And yes, there is probably going to be layoffs in some companies or restructuring and these kind of things. But I had a conversation with somebody recently who's building a tool to scale paid ads, essentially, or like creators for paid ads. And he said that yes, he does have these like established companies trying to outsource things, and but the majority of the calls he said is with plumbing companies in Ohio that never had access to producing high quality ads, right? They had some shitty designer in their city or whatever, and now all of a sudden they can do proper marketing and they can express their brand differently. And I think it's just gonna it used to be like this, like the very best brands like Coinbase, they can produce TV spots for millions of dollars, right? And I think now you can produce a pretty compelling TV spot for, I don't know, 50 or 100K. It's not 5K. Yeah. It still requires human touch, etc. And a smaller startup can now build a huge, nice brand world that just simply was not in their pocket. So I think overall it's just going to get better, and I'm not negative on like mass layoffs and all marketers are going to be unemployed, all the CMO I really started to hate this whole Twitter stuff in the last couple of weeks. Like everything is doomed, every job is dead. Like I don't believe this at all. I think it's going to spread out and it's going to be more accessible to people. Yes, there will be restructurings and agencies will have layoffs and stuff, but then these people are going to go on and help the Ohio plumber.
Yeah, I think people should be hyped and inspired. Like I totally agree with you, because if you look at the tools, like video tools, like we have someone sitting here, the only thing you really need is the narrative and the story, and you can create crazy launch videos. I would say you can generate probably a viral banger launch video for like $500 or $1,000 in credits. So the possibilities you have right now with these tools is actually mind-blowing. But it's also interesting that you have the tools, but most people still like don't do anything with it, right? Like the opportunity is there, but it's really about getting to a certain like knowledge level, but also what I talked about in my presentation, to build up your own sense of what quality looks like and to understand what it actually means to be a good brand, and to not outsource this thing to AI, because it actually, once you dial the knob right of understanding your story and brand, you can then use AI to completely go crazy on the leverage. I want to talk a little bit about, because you are more in AI video, so I would love to get your take on, because you see the customer data, obviously. What is kind of the vertical that video is most used for? Like you say you have UGC. Is there any specific kind of content in video that you feel like is gaining more traction right now, especially when it becomes more cheap to create these things?
UGC, absolutely. Yeah, we have some.
UGC for what?
For what? Yeah.
So I don't really actively look at all the users, but sometimes we have customer support tickets, and I can see, what are the most trendy things just based on the customer support. There is dozens of Asian companies producing UGC videos for companies in US. For instance, like let's say you're a lawyer in US and you normally pay, let's say $500 for one video to an influencer to talk about, let's say a divorce video, and you will use it in social media. And they pay up to like $500. I think you guys know it better than me. I didn't know about it until recently, and now it's like you can make it for $5. And there's lots of companies in Asia doing this for companies in US. It's booming. Maybe I can also talk about my personal experience with marketing. Sure. So I'm a founder, as you know, and I wanted to do Google Ads for Seedance 2, and I never done Google Ads before, and I asked a bunch of people, and they sent me screenshots on WhatsApp, and I still couldn't do it. And I almost gave up until one of my friends said, like, you should use Cloud Cowork. Have you tried it? So I used Cloud Cowork to run the entire Google Ads campaign. It did everything by itself, and it worked. That was conversions.
I mean, that's the proof.
Yeah, but when it comes to copywriting, I still had to write the things because it was making poor choices when it comes to like just the titles and stuff.
I guess if you have the budget, you could also probably test a lot of these, right? Like if you create 1,000 creatives, but I think it comes down to the same thing that I also talked about in my presentation, that it's, if you don't understand what good looks like, it's very hard, right? Because you would need to test all the creatives, but you have some copywriting experience, which helps you to, in the end, test out, okay, these kind of creatives will work, and you don't waste all your money pushing ads that don't really work. I think, what's the time right now? It's like, can someone check? 7:33. Okay, I think we're going to open up for Q&A, because I would love everyone to get the opportunity. So if you have any questions from the panel, but also from the prior talks, just feel free. I'm going to give you that mic. Anyone has a question on anything? Yeah, please also direct the question to someone where you think like it's. Yeah.
So you mentioned that the funding for solopreneurship wasn't so easy, let's say. Any tips you would have how to approach it now that you have successfully gotten the funding?
Yeah, I can share what I share with my friends as well. So you have several options in Berlin when it comes to funding. One is you go with the rules investors set. And for me, it is a little bit difficult because I don't agree with the rules they set. So the second option is you build something and you really believe in what you are doing, and you go after it regardless of what happens. You have to risk a lot of things when you do that. And I think it creates an effect. Not in short term, but let's say after 6 months of hustling, it does create an effect.
And then you have the leverage and can choose the investors.
Yeah, I think it builds the muscle of leverage. Like when I acted like I had the leverage, like speaking with my investors, and they're great people, by the way. I love them because they invested in my company. but when I speak with them, I didn't have any leverage, any material leverage. But I still acted like I had the leverage because I was totally fine if they didn't give me money, because I came all the way to that point, and they wanted to invest in my company. I didn't reach them out, and I was totally fine if they didn't invest, and if they didn't agree with my rules, I would still go my way with my rules.
Nice. Question?
Yeah. So I really like your AI generated launch video. When I create it on your platform or somewhere else, what's the approximate cost of creating a video of that length and quality? Thanks.
I have to make up the number because I spend a lot of credits every day. I'm on a pro plan of my own platform. So I give you my entire budget for this month, and you can. I create a lot of things. I don't know the budget for each. So I'm on pro plan, and the pro plan is $129 per month, and I think I added maybe $300 on top of my own plan. So the total cost of everything I did this month was like $400 to $500.
And how many hours of content did you create?
You mean like video?
Yeah.
I didn't really measure it, but I do it daily because I'm building in public. I have to use X. I have to share how my platform is doing things on X, and like lots of demos. And I don't know.
Perfect. Thanks.
You can first use the first $8 credit to get started. Back.
Hey everyone, I really like the conversation today. In general, I feel like there's two layers of AI optimization when it comes to marketing. It's like the content layer, the browser, folks cruising the internet, but there's also the kind of more agentic layer. I was wondering if anyone has experience building tooling like MCPs for their product, or LLM.text, or Markdown for agents, or any of these things, and seeing that be successful. So some of it I know is very cutting edge, and it's not necessarily maybe the most effective thing, but it feels more and more like there's that invisible layer of stuff going on that is supposed to have potential, but I don't know.
I can start on that. We can also share around. So I think in general, you have the right intuition that there's also a lot of crap that you probably don't need. So it's also easy to get lost in things that don't really work. Personally, I use MCPs, as I say, like when I create my stuff, I want to be able to create most inside one platform. So I want to create most inside Cloud Code, for example. So I can connect MCP to my Notion, and I can connect MCP to stuff like XCaliDraw for drawing diagrams. So it's very easily integrated. If you even want to use a connect API, you can use Cowork, for example, that has native connectors. So I would just ask myself, like, what are the things you have been using before, and can you use them in a more efficient way? That's like one thing I really recommend, to like connect your Slack as well, to get everything into one platform, so you're not, because you need to understand every platform has been optimized to be as dopamine extracting as possible. So if you have one platform that just has access to all of your tooling, it's going to be easier for you to focus. So that's just from a productivity standpoint, it really made a big difference for me. Anyone else had a big?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this. And sorry for being the fluffy top-down guy, but I was actually thinking a lot about this for the last couple of weeks. So first of all, I think there's different perspectives from if you're a marketer, how to see agents. I think there's agents for marketers, you know, and this is like pretty much everything that was talked about today. Whatever. There's agents for customers, right? So we build stuff as marketers that, you know, somehow help us interacting with the customer. Then there's agents by customers, and this is now where MCP service of a company, MCP service, if you're like a software provider, you will have, you know, to decide like how do you tap into these, right? Do you build MCP servers? Do you, you know, exclude agents from your content? SAP, for example, just decided to do stuff like that. And then the fourth category for me is agents to agents, which is probably a little further down. So this is just my mental model, how I'm thinking, like, and now you can like zoom into all of these different ones. And then I think there's another component to that question, which is which taps into agents by customers, which is not only like, you know, maybe you're not, you know, a software vendor that should build an MCP server to connect with Cloud or whatever, but and the thing here is geo, right? So generative engine optimization. So what used to be SEO is now called geo or AI search or agentic search or whatever. And I'm actually tracking relatively closely what is being built in this space, because so there's one pretty interesting company called Peak AI here in Berlin. They raised like 30 million. They're pretty successful. There's a much larger role model which is called Profound in the US. They raised like 200 million, and I think, I don't know if like the funding is right, like, of the size of funding for their stage, but I really track closely what these guys are doing, what they're building, because I think understanding AI search and like how I appear as a brand or as a company in these results is super crucial. And then everything is going to come after this, like ads within agents, agent optimization, LLM.txt and whatever. So like I would recommend, like, yeah, share one mental model and then like specific area to zoom into that. I don't know, I don't have the answers. Like I've done some optimizations on that stuff. I think it's super early. Obviously, nobody has the right answers on how to manipulate LLMs properly. But yeah, this is how I currently try to explore that area.
Okay, and I think that's it for now. The pizza is ready, so you don't want anything to get cold. Again, thanks to all of my guests. It was a pleasure to have you here. Really good discussion. And thanks everyone for coming. And again, if you want to ask anything, please just come by, just ask, say hi, enjoy the pizza, reach out on social media, and yeah, hope to see you again.
Thank you. And don't hesitate, we have a lot
And again,
pizza.
sorry, one more time.
We have a lot pizza, by the way, so this is just the first batch. There's another delivery
You
coming.
can take some home.
Enjoy.
All right.
Machst du den Stream fertig, Männer?
Ja, thank you.
Thank you, man.